Welcome to SVG-TV News for Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves revealed today that he has received an online threat but said he is not fazed by it. Speaking on Boom FM, Prime Minister Gonsalves told the host that he was alerted to the threat while on his way to the radio station earlier in the day.
Morning, my security officers gave me this thing. You can read it. Somebody online is saying that somebody who calls himself or herself Artagene. If they don't win, meaning
if NDP don't win,
execution style for Ralph. And somebody, Vernice Weiberg, replied, Artagene. Wow. I hope the police department and the authorities in St. Vincent and Grenadines see your reply and arrest you. And then I have another note which was sent. So, but none of this frightens me, you know.
But these are death threats, execution style for you, meaning that you will be executed.
Well, you know, Bing, I have lived more years than I have remaining left to live. All that can happen to me is that my time on earth is slightly accelerated. That's all. So none of these things worry me. None of them.
You're not fazed at all by these things?
Absolutely not.
The revelation comes as the political climate intensifies ahead of the upcoming general elections to be held on November 27, 2025. Dr. Gonsalves noted that this was not the first time he had received death threats during his political career. When asked about the security measures currently in place, he declined to provide details, citing security reasons, but acknowledged that he also has a duty to protect himself and his family.
Does your security go up even more? Your family, how do they feel? The people are close around you?
I wouldn't tell you that either.
You won't tell me that either?
No.
Why? For security reasons again?
Clearly.
Okay.
I have an obligation, even before I talk about other people have an obligation to protect me.
Right.
I have an obligation to protect my family.
Right.
I have an obligation to ensure that there is reasonable protection for those whom I assess may be subject to certain threats.
The Prime Minister stressed that the threat would not deter him from carrying out his duties or change his outgoing personality. Dr. Gonsalves also condemned recent acts of vandalism, including the destruction of political billboards in West Kingstown and on Beckway, calling on citizens to refrain from violence or politically motivated damage. And youths from various constituencies across St. Vincent and the Grenadines participated in the Unity Labour Party ULP Youth Convention on Sunday, where they were addressed by several ULP candidates and party leader. Delivering the closing remarks, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves encouraged the young people in attendance to play a greater role in shaping their future, emphasizing the importance of youth involvement in national development.
I know in your respective constituencies, you can't run it alone. You have to run it with some experienced people, some who are older. But I want you to tell those older ones to give you some space so that your creativity can flourish. I want to see you on social media, not with triviality, but bigging up labor with substance as you set about to own the future. This is your campaign.
Dr. Gonsalves also urged young people to remain focused and to avoid carrying forward old tensions that have divided communities in the past, particularly among older generations.
To have any kind of vanities in this campaign. If Mary and Elizabeth have some little quarrel or difference, I want you to put that behind you. You're in the family of labor, and the family of labor must stay together when there is a battle, and a battle is on, and you are in the front line of warriors in that battle. Sometimes the older ones have some ancient vanities and grudges. And those older ones which have ancient vanities and grudges which humbug you in your march going forward. You ask them, please forget your own vanities and grudges, because this time is young people time. This time is your time above anything else.
And leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, today outlined a number of key policy proposals for St. Vincent and the Grenadines should the NDP be elected to government. He made the remarks during a radio interview on Hot 97 FM this morning. Dr. Gonzalez stated that many of the initiatives being proposed by his team are long-discussed ideas that are now ready to be implemented under effective leadership and sound management. He also addressed the government's new hospital project, noting that while he initially been skeptical about the cost figures, he supports its construction and emphasized that an NDP administration would continue the project.
So we are in favor of building the hospital. So I want to say this to the voters out there. Ralph started because he think he will get him over the line. I will finish it. Okay? He started the hospital, I will finish it. I had concerns, if you know, in the parliament when the bill came to raise the money to build the hospital. It was 125 million US dollars that was being borrowed from the Export-Import Bank of Taiwan. We supported that loan in the parliament. So why would we stop it? You guys have the money they're not using. We supported the loan, even though I had concerns about it, and I sought clarification from the Minister of Finance because he did not explain what the total cost of it would be. You know, and we got the clarification that the actual cost of the loan was like 6.25%, which is high for a major project of the government. But we supported it because we feel that we could get this done.
Dr. Friday also announced plans for a series of special duty-free concessions aimed at benefiting trade unions, the private sector and public servants. He explained that these measures are intended to offer financial relief and stimulate economic activity.
Workers in particular, they have been, you know, carrying a heavy burden, especially since the COVID crisis and all of that, and then dealing with cost of living crisis, and one of the things that we and transportation and all of that. One of the proposals or the suggestions, the recommendations that have been made to us is that we must do something to assist them in becoming more mobile to get transportation. So what we are going to do for public sector workers, you know, those in the higher categories now, they get a concession of 75% of a release and purchase of a vehicle.
Yeah, but you gotta be within a certain bracket.
That's right, very narrow bracket.
Yeah.
And the top end of the people.
Yeah, high end.
The people who probably need the least because they are better off.
Right.
Right? So what we're going to do is we say we're extending it to all public servants, but not the policy of 75%. What we'll do is we'll provide a one-time concession of 50% to public servants to purchase a vehicle.
In addition, Dr. Friday introduced a proposed baby bonus initiative designed to provide financial assistance to new mothers with the expenses of childbirth and early childcare.
Are going to assist mothers, families, first time, not first time, but when they have a newborn, the government will pay a bonus of $500 to the newborn. And the idea is really to assist immediately on the birth. You know, they have this that you could buy some essentials and so forth. And it in some countries they call it a baby bonus. So we could refer to that here.
Baby bonus.
Yes.
And this is what
$500 for the newborn child that the government will pay that bonus to the parents to help with the transition and the cost of the birth of the child.
Dr. Friday reaffirmed his confidence in the feasibility of these policies and their potential to benefit Vincentians across all communities. Meanwhile, the New Democratic Party held what it dubbed a big meeting at the Bible playing field on Saturday night, drawing a large crowd of supporters from across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The event, held in the South Windward constituency, attracted Vincentians both young and old and featured a number of local and regional performers. In his address, the NDP's candidate for South Windward, Andrew John, said that while the constituency serves as the gateway to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, it has not been treated with the importance it deserves.
We have been so badly neglected that we need a rescue mission. And so tonight I want to share with you the plans of the NDP briefly. But more specifically, I want to share with you my vision for South Windward. I want you to imagine with me a place where our young people can grow and develop. I want you to imagine our young children doing well in school, not performing under their level. I want you to imagine once again with me the farmers of our constituency and our country doing well. I want you to see our young people, our teachers, our policemen continue to receive more and more scholarships and bursaries. South Windward is a place where work has been done in all respects. And when I say that, I'm talking here about our tradesmen who have been so excellent in their work. But you know what has happened? In Bayaboo, in Cedars, in Stubbs, in Calder, in Diamond, our tradesmen are disappearing. We have reached a stage there where they are telling us in St. Vincent that our tradesmen can't work. So they bring people to do the work that we were able to do so competently.
Reminding the gathering of his years of service as an educator throughout the constituency, John said he has worked to instill discipline and self-worth in his students, but expressed dissatisfaction with how many of them are being treated today.
I've been broken. You are not being given the opportunity to fly, the opportunity to do well. And so that is one of the reasons why I said to the young people and to our young people and children, imagine what life would be under an NDP government that is saying to you, let us build an economy where you can do well. It's not hard to imagine, you know. It's not hard to imagine you doing well. You know why? Because if you look on the other side, you will see what their children are doing. You will see the millions of dollars they are earning, and you would realize something is wrong with the way things are being done in St. Vincent and Grenadines. So in Bayaboo, a government led by Dr. Friday under the NDP will ensure first and foremost that we give Bayaboo a much deserved facelift. That is the first thing we're going to do. We're going to upgrade this community that has been so neglected that when you pass straight, you forget that you are in a developed place.
John, who has served in the education sector for several years, is contesting his first general elections under the NDP banner. His background in teaching has been a central part of his campaign message, focusing on youth empowerment, education reform, and community development. Outlining his plans for Bayaboo, the largest area within the constituency, John proposed several initiatives, including support for struggling small businesses, the establishment of a new burial site for Bayaboo, an upgrade of the Bayaboo playing field with fencing and lighting, and development plans for the nearby community of Selman.
We also want to ensure that when you come to Bayaboo, I said earlier that is the gateway. We are part of the gateway. When you get to the airport, you can come here. You can do any kind of business. Whether you want ATM service, whether you want pharmaceuticals, whatever business you want to do, you don't have to go to Tongue or you don't have to go to some other community. Bayaboo must be self-sufficient in a lot of business areas. I want to see that. That is the vision I have for Bayaboo. Upgraded restaurants, even hotels and places where people can overnight. We must do that for our community. We can do that here. Not to be left out, the people of Simon. The people of Simon are dear to my heart. And you have journeyed with me, many of you, to Simon when we had that meeting. You have seen the neglect in the roads in Simon for 20 plus years. And we are saying as an NDP government, we will make the fixing of that road a priority. Not just the main road, but those roads that lead to the lands of farmers. My friend is saying he has never seen more ginger that comes out of Simon. Farmers are willing to work. But not only will we fix the roads, we will provide markets for the people so that they could earn a better price for their produce.
Saturday night's big meeting is one of several constituency events being held across the country as the opposition ramps up its outreach efforts ahead of the November 27th polls. And the Unity Labour Party candidate for North Windward, Grace Walters, has addressed public reactions to her speech in Richmond Hill, where she was described as overly energetic while responding to claims made by her political opponent. Walters, who is contesting the North Windward seat for the first time, told supporters at a gospel rally held on Sunday at the Chatouillet National Park that her energy came from genuine passion for representing the people of her constituency.
Comrades, the last time I spoke with you, I was a little passionate. I was passionate because someone tried to question my loyalty to you. But more so, someone tried to tell my people, the people of North Windward, that I did not care. And that is something that I cannot and will not tolerate. North Windward is home. I owe everything I have to this constituency. The constituency have guided me and have shaped me. And anyone who knows me, including those on the other side, will attest to the fact that my people are very dear to my heart, and I will always defend you.
Walters reiterated that the Unity Labour Party's record of development across St. Vincent and the Grenadines over the past 2 decades. She praised the party's achievements in areas such as education, housing, infrastructure, and social development, while promising to build on that foundation.
Realize, comrades, that it was because that they know of my love for you that they thought to get to me, they had to attack what was there to me, my loyalty. And so they tried to distract me, but I've seen right through that. So I said to them, nice try, but try again. No distractions, comrades. I will continue to speak on the progress that this country has made. I will continue to speak about where the people of North Windward was under the NDP administration. I will continue to enlighten the youth and the rest of the world about the oppression and the disregard we faced while under their regime.
The gospel concert and rally followed several addresses by ULP candidates, including Prime Minister Party leader Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who also spoke about the government's vision for the nation's continued transformation. Meanwhile, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and the Unity Labour Party's candidate for West Kingstown, Kiesel Peters, says the ULP has a clear and achievable vision to transform St. Vincent and the Grenadines into a first world nation. She made her remarks during a recently held village meeting. Peters emphasized that the ULP is focused on building a future that benefits every Vincentian, outlining that the government's development agenda is rooted in progress, opportunity, and innovation.
To have a future where St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a first world country. That is the vision of the Unity Labour Party. And for 15 years, the constituency of South Leeward has been held hostage by a man who is neglectful and a man who underperforms. For 15 years, you have had a representative who gives you the bare minimum. For 15 years, you have a representative who comes to Parliament on average once a month. If so much, and the only thing he could talk about is road. Now, don't get me wrong, roads are very important. But if you know the spirit of your people are more than just roads.
Peters further highlighted the education revolution as one of the ULP's most significant achievements, describing it as a cornerstone of national development.
The Unity Labour Party has transformed the landscape of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as it relates to education. And we cannot talk enough about the education revolution. Comrades, I stand here as a child of the education revolution. Minister Brewster, who was my college mate, is a child of the education revolution. We came from humble beginnings, and we are here to serve the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Addressing criticism from the opposition, Peters said that the NDP remains politically blind, failing to recognize the scope of development taking place across the country.
Are politically blind to the aspirations and the dreams of our young people. They are politically blind for the need to develop this country, to take it into the future. For them, everything is about cost. How much this going to cost? We have made proposals in Parliament for various projects for the benefit of people. And we've heard things like, you have champagne taste with Marby budget packet wherever. Minister Brewster, the dance can't pay for the lights. But we, as a party, the Unity Labour Party, we have delivered for our families. We have delivered for our communities. We have delivered development from show to show across St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
In more local news now, we hear that the late Selman Walters, who served as general manager of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Route Association up until his passing, was laid to rest on Saturday, November 1st, 2025 at the Sanssouci Cemetery following a funeral service at the New Life Ministries in New Grounds. Walters, a former member of Parliament for South Central Windward, dedicated many years of service to his constituency and to national development. In recognition of his contributions to public life, he was accorded an official funeral. There was an outpouring of tributes from family members, friends, and colleagues, many of whom remembered him as a devoted public servant, community leader, and educator.
But for me, Brother Walters has touched my life in a personal way. We would have been friends, we would have been comrades, and you know, up to his death, we were good. So he was a good man. The thing is, I used to be amazed when people who he knew was against him coming to him. Not for one thing, some people would bring a gas bill, a prescription, and everything else to him. And he would assist, you know, so he was a good man. May his soul rest in peace.
I sympathize with the family. I called, I prayed. Most of all, my heart goes out to my sister Mignan. I know it will be a hard time for her. But in it all, I just admonish them to place everything into the hands of God. And He will, like we ask, that He will direct paths, and let us not fear of what tomorrow may bring.
I feel it very much when I heard Brother Selman departed. It was a shock. But the Lord knows best. I want the family to know that we love you and we want you to be encouraged. Even though he is gone to be with the Lord.
Well, it came as a shock to us, because I was not aware that he was unwell, but God is in it. He's never wrong. And whatever he does, it's according to his will. But what I can say is that not too long ago, I was called to a meeting where Selman was present. And I signed with him a document where Selman put his God before his party. And I leave it there. And I'm satisfied that the brother had returned fully to the Lord.
Selman was a good guy. I believe Selman wants everybody to be saved. He wants everybody to be saved and come to the knowledge of the truth.
Selman Walters was a long-standing member of the Unity Labour Party and served as Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries during his tenure in government. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves paid tribute to Walters, describing him as a man of humility and dedication. He noted that Walters' death came as a shock to him.
By today's standards, he's a relatively young man, 65 years old, 14 years my junior. Don't know the luck of the draw. And I told Kezran that I was entirely surprised to get this news. I was benumbed. And then I asked about his mother, who was there with him, and I spoke to her. And then naturally, as head of the Labour family, I ensured that all matters were put in train for us to ensure that Selman was accorded what belongs to him, a very dignified official funeral, as we, from ancient times, our favored sons and daughters, we lay them to rest appropriately.
With climate change continuing to impact small island developing states, a growing number of groups, non-governmental organizations and community stakeholders in St. Vincent and Grenadines are being engaged to help address mitigation and adaptation issues. This effort is being supported through funding from the Organization of American States and facilitated locally by the Center for Enterprise Development, the CD. The 4-day Climate Change Forum and Financial Literacy session began today, and according to Keisha Phillips, Communications and Training Officer at CD, the initiative is designed to empower women and vulnerable communities affected by the impacts of climate change.
Through this project, we aim to reduce the impact of climate change to enhance livelihoods and increase economic opportunities for women and underserved communities. The project seeks to address the increasing vulnerability of communities to climate-related impacts, such as extreme weather events, changing precipitation patterns, and rising sea levels. By promoting sustainable livelihoods and building resilience, we aim to enhance the long-term well-being and economic security of these communities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Climate change is a global crisis that significantly affects vulnerable communities, particularly those that rely on agriculture, fisheries, and natural resources. The impact of the changing climate patterns disrupts traditional livelihoods. It exacerbates poverty and undermines socio-economic development.
A total of 16 groups are participating in the forum. Phillips highlighted several visible climate change impacts being experienced in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, including unpredictable weather patterns, extended dry spells, and more intense rainfall events, all of which pose challenges to agriculture, infrastructure, and livelihoods.
Here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we face a range of environmental challenges as we are highly vulnerable to the impacts of global climate change. Among the challenges we are being warned about are that our country and the rest of the Caribbean region will experience significant environmental changes in the coming years. From changes in the annual rainfall average to sea level rise, heat waves, floods, droughts, and potential rise in the intensity of tropical storms in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. If we are to effectively plan and mitigate the impact of climate change on our country, we need each of you to commit to the task with us at the CED.
The OAS grant, valued at US $125,000 over a 3-year period, will enable local organizations to design and implement community-based climate adaptation projects across the country. These initiatives are expected to focus on sustainable livelihoods, environmental protection, and disaster risk reduction. And we hear that the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force is investigating a shooting incident that occurred in Layu on Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, just after 8 p.m., during which 2 male adults were injured. Injured are 2 26-year-old male residents of Layu who were shot while traveling along a public road in the area. The police say both men are at the Milton Cater Memorial Hospital receiving medical treatment. The SVG-PF appeals to anyone with information that could assist in the investigation to come forward, stating that your cooperation is vital in ensuring justice in the matter and maintaining the safety and security of our nation.